We're just outside Chicago in Romeoville, Illinois, where the greatest women bowlers in the world are competing for the 2008 U.S. Women's Open. Last week, we saw Tennelle Kearney get the first spot in the semifinal round in a battle of PWBA Tour veterans. Today, the youngsters take center stage. Welcome to week 2 of the U.S. Women's Open. Hi, I'm Bo Burton, and let's take a look at the brackets for this tournament. In 2 weeks, we'll see the feature player, Carolyn Doran Ballard. And then next week, in the semifinals, trying to make it, will be Michelle Feldman with another stellar field. And to this week, we have a great field, but some inexperience, and Tennelle Milligan is the player to beat. And once again with me is Marshall Holman. Marshall, 2-time U.S. Open winner, and we didn't see many strikes last week. Do you think the ladies, after a week, can make an adjustment?
I think the women were definitely watching what last show looked like, and they're definitely going to have to make some adjustments. It was certainly in the equipment choices that they made and where they were standing on the lane. So I look for the scores to be better. I think even though there's inexperience, the lane should offer some very high scores.
Marshall, I look forward to your commentary. And now down to our colleague, Kathy Doran-Lizzie.
As we saw last week, Tennelle Kearney showed her experience. She didn't hesitate changing equipment, made the right choice, and became victorious. Today you'll see 3 women that are a little more inexperienced as far as TV is concerned. It'll be very interesting to see how these women will match up, make their choices, and adjust to the condition. My favorite, Tennelle Milligan. She's a past champion and has the most experience.
Today's Look at the Lanes is sponsored by the new PBA Experience Leagues. Contact your local bowling center to see how you can bowl on the exact lane oil condition used on the PBA Tour.
Now they're bowling on the cheetah pattern bow, and it's a 36-foot length of oil. The oil is Kegel Infinity. It's a synthetic surface, and it really does force the women to play out far to the right on the lane on the right-hand side, go directly up the lane, and on the left-hand side, pretty much the same.
These are the 2 pair of lanes that our contestants will be competing on today in week 2. 39 and 40 here at Brunswick Zone XL. And Marshall, probably the feature match would be on 39 and 40 with Zulkifli, who is the tremendous international star, going against Milligan, who is just a top-of-the-notch player. Very disappointed last year when she barely missed the cut. Here we go, first shot.
Well, the 2002 U.S. Women's Open champion, Tennelle Milligan.
This can be a tough match, Marshall. These 2 players can really go.
Well, it sounded like a 10-pin. It's hard to see from here, but
it is a 10-pin.
Yep.
And once again, we see the same dilemma starting out that we had in week 1, is that the players can hit the pocket, but 9 doesn't seem to be a cooperating score. Now we have Krystal Wilson up on the left-hand lane, match 2.
She looked real strong in practice, lofts the ball out on the lane, and comes up with a 4-6 split. I'll tell you, that first shot on the telecast, it's maddening.
Well, you know, especially that outside line, Marshall. You know, you got to trust it, as Tennelle did as she getting ready to cross lane for a 10-pin spare. It's very difficult to send it out towards the gutter area on your very first shot.
It's never my favorite part of the lane to play. I like being inside where I could just wheel it, and that shot's not there for these ladies. They have to play. They're really forced to play out there.
Really, the great players of all times were full rollers who roll between the thumb and finger hole, and guys like Billy Hartwick. From that outside, and 1 pin for Krystal, so off to a little shaky start. Now we have a player that I've never seen before, but they all say could be among the top 5 players in the world. Let's see Shalin's first shot, right-hand lane.
Wow. Same thing that Milligan did. She leaves the solid 10. Our first look, Jodi Woessner.
Up on the right-hand lane.
Well, all 10 pins cooperated for Woessner. No solid 10 for her.
Well, maybe speed's the key. We watched Tennelle Milligan and Shalin just kind of rocket the ball down there, which was been the most effective way last year to score in this condition. Maybe it isn't this year. Let's see.
And no problem with the spare for Zulkifli. I like that name.
I do too. Jodi Woessner up. She is kind of a newcomer, but she beat pro Jason Couch, one of our great PBA players, in a PBA regional tournament. Those are one of the 7 regions of the PBA around the United States, and that's quite an accomplishment.
Well, early, she's got the right combination, and really, it looked like Wilson, of the two, in practice, looked like the stronger of the two players.
Okay, Zulkifli up. She led Malaysia to the women's gold in a victory over the United States team last year in 2007. So they have some women that can play in Malaysia. Hydroplane 1-2-10 washout.
Ball never did pick up the roll. Like you said, it just sort of slid all the way down. She needs to get the ball left of the head pin, get it into the 10, as Wilson is now up on lane 42 for her second frame. We'll take a look at this shot for Zulkifli. It never does pick up the roll. It just hangs and hangs. She leaves the 1, the 2, and the 10. Changes balls for the spare. And makes an excellent spare recovery.
You know, I like her technique, Marshall, and I messed around it with today's lighter pins that seemed to wrap the head pin around the 10, which we saw in week 1 being a pivotal shot. And throwing a little back up or even bowling down the left side seems to be a better way to make it today. A new technique.
Well, she certainly looked very, very confident there as Wilson gets a spare in the second frame. There's a woman who really had nothing but pocket hits in the practice, and her first 2 shots both come in very high as Tennelle Milligan now gets up for her second shot on lane 40.
Pretty good.
Milligan seems to be throwing a ball that has a little more surface on it. The ball starts rolling early, and then it actually toward the back end looks like it kind of just sets up and stops. And that's what all the ball reps have been saying is really the winning combination with this particular condition.
All right, let's see if Wilson can bounce back from that open frame on lane 41. Send it way out, bounces off, as we call, off the edge of the headboard, which is very dry, and jumps high again. Now Tennelle Milligan, who is one of my 2 picks of the 16, Marshall, to take this championship. If you can have 2, only 1 can win, obviously. But Tennelle Milligan, I watched her all week long, and she just has her game together no matter what the angle. Let's see what happens.
Back off. Ah! What are you doing?
All right, down to Kathy Doran Lizzie with a report on Tennelle Milligan.
Well, when I was talking to Tennelle before the match about her equipment, she actually is going to stay with the ball she started with, which is pretty early rolling, but it's got a stronger cover. But she's just going to throw it harder if it starts to overreact rather than jump into another ball. So that shot, she just went high. It'll be interesting to see if she throws it harder or actually changes.
Thanks, Kathy, and I do like that technique, Marshall, after we've seen it. Just rocket it down there with some speed and your normal shot.
And she does a great job making the 3-10, fits the ball right in between them. We'll take a look as that ball nicely covers the 3 and the 10. And we'll also take a look next time to see if she does amp the speed up a little bit using our CAT system.
Okay, Jodi up on the right-hand lane, perfect through 2, leads by 23 pins. Make it 33 pins.
You know, her ball kind of floats through the lane. It sort of kind of spins through the heads and then makes a nice smooth reaction in the back end. She certainly found something early.
Shalin up on the right-hand lane, lane 40. 80 medals in international competition. Quite the star.
Come on. Oh. 10 pin not quite cooperating.
Marshall, I'm beginning to think in the sport of bowling there's only 2 spares. The 10 pin and all the rest. Because they leave 10 pin all the time.
That's true.
Jodi perfect through 3, up in the 4th frame.
Pinched that ball in a little bit left, but it still held the pocket pretty nice. Just leaves the 4 pin.
Today's competitors close-ups are brought to you by bowling's premier online destination, featuring up-to-the-minute news, tournament information, and sports' newest online video channel, Bowl TV. Okay, in the Milligan Zulkifli match, no mistakes so far. Jodi's been really sharp. As she said, Marshall got away with a little 4-pin there, but she started with a turkey and has a commanding 32-pin lead. I look for Krystal to bounce back, though. Krystal, she has that demeanor that don't count me out.
It looks as if in her first few shots she's actually been, instead of getting the ball out of the lane properly, she's been hitting up on the ball, and the ball's been grabbing the lane much too early.
Okay, Shalin quickly up on the left-hand lane, trails by 4 pins, spare working.
This is the lane she came in light on. Well, then she came in light, but pocket light, and drives all those pins out.
We'll be back with more of the match after this. U.S. Women's Open is being brought to you by the United States Bowling Congress, the sport's governing body, growing the sport and protecting the integrity of the game. By Bowl.com, the USBC's official website and bowling's premier online destination. And by the Bowling Foundation, 67 million bowlers contributing through one voice. Thank you, Bowling Foundation.
All right, we are back. U.S. Women's Open. We'll take a look at some computer-aided tracking system data for Jodi Woessner. As you can see, the only frame that she didn't strike in, she pulled the ball just a little bit, hit 8.2 out at the arrows, and we'll see one of her strikes in slow motion. Very smooth as she spins the ball down the lane. That holds the ball from hooking too soon. That's that shot with that great kick out of the 10 pin. Boy, the bowlers love to see it when it strikes like that.
And she's the only player so far of the 8 players we've seen in the quarterfinals here on ESPN that is really looking like she can knock some pins now. Now, the match that's even, the feature match, Tennelle, Milligan, all even with Zulkifli through 5.
She's working on a strike. That's got to hurry. Oh my gosh, it hurried hard. Boy, they must really be dry on the outside. I think she liked that ball halfway down the lane.
Yeah, she did. She really caught it good off her hand, good lift, good loft. And what do I do now? I go light, I go high. She's totally confused. Now here's a woman that's got to get it going. Krystal Wilson, trailing by 43 pins, got a strike working and maybe can put together a string.
That's a start.
Well,
she's up against a real tough competitor. As Milligan just gets the 2 pins of the split. That's the smart play, but she's going to have to change her strategy as far as her attacking these lanes, because she is confused.
Yes, she doesn't know whether to stay out there and throw it harder or move in and hope for the oil or skid by. Well, she's got a big decision to make, and Krystal Wilson now can get herself right back in this match with a strike. She'd only trail by 23 pins.
There she is. That was a friendly little power strike. Ball taken out the 5, driving it into the 7.
The woman that's won 3 majors, the U.S. Open, the Queens, and the Women's Players Championship. Up here on lanes 39 and 40. She's up on 39, 7th frame. Really needs to get it going. Seems like she can't get a real good feel out of the ball, Marshall, but she's just got to reach back and go to the whip. Sweet.
Now you can see there's confusion right there.
On both players.
She's got the left lane wired, but the right lane, she's not sure what to do on it.
Okay, Jodi Woessner Working on a 229 game, can get that pace up to 239 and regain the 33-pin lead.
Get up.
Yeah, she's got the right combination. And she really said last night, I talked to her about the key to her game, and she said when she won that regional against Jason Couch, that gave her a lot of confidence.
It'd give me confidence. I mean, Jason Couch, one of the premier men players in the world today, been out with an injury last year, but's coming back, and obviously very sharp. You know, she shot 279 to defeat Couch. Couch shot a 250 game, and it just wasn't enough.
Zulkifli for a double. She's getting excited.
Two tough competitors over there, and every time somebody makes a mistake, somebody jumps on it. Now, Jodi Woessner. See if she can continue her string.
That's just the 10-pin.
You know, interesting watching Woessner's eyes, Marshall. She's looking down at the break point on her first step, and watch as she drops her eyes down to somewhere around the arrows in her second or third step. I've never seen anybody do it, and fairly it's effective and works for her.
Boy, that'd be very confusing for me.
Well, you know, if you do it all your life and been successful. Now, Zulkifli up in a really, really great situation where if she can strike and put Milligan on the ropes.
Boy, there's that 10-pin again, but she's going, that's okay, that's okay. I made a good shot. That's all you can do is get up there and perform, make the best shot you can. Woessner having a little trouble with her spare ball. Looks like she's going to add a piece of tape.
Good idea. You got to have that feel. I mean, probably the most overlooked thing by amateur players, to me, Marshall, is the perfect grip. The ball has to feel perfect to make great shots.
And your hand continuously changes as you're bowling. You know, it shrinks and it swells, and I used to constantly fight the feel of the ball, you know, back in the day when I was competing, and it is so important for it to feel just like an extension of your body.
Tape is a must for the avid bowler to keep the perfect feel, especially in the thumb.
No problem with the 10-pin.
Okay, same shot is facing Shalin, left-hand lane. It is the 8th frame. Leads by 21 if she makes this spare.
She can get it down the lane pretty good, huh, Bo?
Yeah, got that long swing, powerful legs, a good speed, and with her feet on the approach. That's something you always had, and that really, she's a leg bowler, and where some players are arm bowlers like I was. I would walk slow and use my upper body. You walked a little quicker and use your legs. Both methods can be very effective.
The key shot right here to get back in this match. She's going to go high with a 310, and she shakes her head and knows that just wasn't the shot that Wilson wanted to throw.
For Tennelle Milligan, who said, in quote to me, "I won't be beat this year in the Women's U.S. Open."
She's going to have to step it up right now because she is 21 pins in the rear, and that's a lot to make up, but a couple strikes, she can be right back in the game. This has been her tough lane.
She trusted that shot, hung it right out over the edge, and you would not think that the ball would quit and leave a 10 like that. It just kind of laid off. Very difficult situation for Tennelle, and she's made some great shots. Open frame for Krystal, and
making it easier on Jodi Woessner.
Jodi Woessner's made it pretty easy on herself, though, throwing every ball in the pocket. We haven't seen anybody do that in 2 weeks. So, once again, Milligan up, needs to make this spare, and she has a possible, let's see, 112.32, 192. Zulkifli going at a 193 pace. So, the match is still up for grabs. And we've seen a lot more opens than we normally see, Marshall, so there can be a diametrical turnaround in a match very quickly near the end. So, this match on 41 and 42, though, is pretty well in hand as Krystal Wilson has bowled well all her time here, but has run into a buzzsaw.
Now, she needed that, and then to strike out for 212 to put any pressure on Woessner, and right now, Tennelle trying to muster up the fortitude to continue to do well on this left-hand lane.
Here's the possible scores. Milligan 192, Zulkifli 213. But if Milligan could strike out, she'd 192. She'd really put some pressure on Chenille.
There you go. Good one.
Wow. The ball almost went in the channel.
It's just that outside boards are so dry, and yet if they get into the 2 or 3 board, Marshall, it looks like it hydroplanes. And the only person we've seen be very successful has been Jodi with that low rev. She's not power playing, she's just letting it roll.
Yeah.
All right, watch Tennille's ball. I'll bet that 1/3 of it's hanging off of the
Look at that.
channel. There it is, and it just makes the left turn through the beak. The 3-6 still has an outside chance, but she has to make this spare.
My projection for higher scores this week is not looking very good.
Well, we are getting one high score. Jodi Woessner is spanking him. I mean, she has a possible 258. It's just that the other ladies have not made the adjustment from what they saw last week, and they're continuing with that same rocket pattern from way outside, and it's just not successful. Jodi, every ball in the pocket, has left 3 single pin spares. A spare here and strikeout 247 will be our highest score in 2 weeks. So,
and even if she
pretty
doesn't,
sharp.
even if she doesn't make this spare, she's still in excellent position.
All right, for Shalin, this match is not over. She needs a key strike here to keep her count out. She needs a strike and a spare, or 2 strikes to win. That was a heavy hitter there, partner.
Yeah. And she's a little bit of a fireballer. She's got a lot of enthusiasm. Works very hard as Woessner gets up to make her spare. The 10 pin on lane 42. And that's pretty much all she wrote in that game.
All right.
Okay.
For Shalin Zulkifli, she needs 9 pins on 2 balls to shut out the lady that I thought was the favorite going in when we had around 16 players left, Tennelle Milligan.
Boy, that ball really did hang.
But that's a winner, Marshall.
Yep.
So our 2 players will be Zulkifli and Woessner in our final to see who makes it to the final semifinals. So we'll be back with a finished conclusion of this match and the beginning of our final match right after this. To the U.S. Women's Open, a USBC event. All right, in today's brackets, the first round winner is Zulkifli, who won 192 over 168 over one of the tournament favorites, Tennelle Milligan. Then Krystal Wilson was overwhelmed by Jodi Woessner. Those two will be going at it on Zulkifli's pair of lanes, 39 and 40. And here's what Zulkifli's ball rep was doing with her bowling ball to try to help her out, giving it a little surface to it, a little sanding pad, and see if it works for her, because she did struggle even though she didn't won the match. So here we go. First frame, Jodi Woessner, who shot a fabulous 246 in her victory over Wilson, the highest game we've had in 2 weeks. First shot to see who goes to our semifinals.
And I think it was a smart move having Zulkifli stay on that tough pair.
Oh, no doubt, Marshall.
Can't let Woessner bowl on a pair we should shot 240.
Wow. And what's the song, What a Difference a Pair Makes? Or a Day Make. Anyway, didn't get the same ball reaction. That ball was coming back on 41 and 2, and now it just hangs out there for the 2-4-2-5-8. So a tough spare right out of the chute.
Very difficult spare, very easy to chop, just many ways to miss it. Both she's changed ball. She's going to go with just go straight at it, which is a very difficult way to make this spare. And you see the deflection.
Wow.
She just gets 9. Zulkifli takes a 11-pin lead, and she hasn't even thrown a shot yet.
And joining us in the announce booth is Linda Barnes, who just about won everything in the sport of bowling, as you see the ball sliding by again. Linda, you were right in contention last year, struggled a little bit this year, but what do you think of these two girls in this match here?
Oh, I think this is a great match. That opening is unfortunate for Jodi because Shalin will jump all over that. She's a great competitor, and she's going to get out there and just put the heat on her right now.
Is she using that sanded ball that Chris Schlimmer worked out for her?
Yes, she is. Her go-to is to throw it harder, so she's just going to jump on it a little bit harder and go more direct.
Wow. Now, just a point that I can ask both of you, which I think I know the answer, but is it legal to do that, Linda, in the league competition? Let's say you bowl a frame in league competition, your ball doesn't hook, can you sand it up like that?
No, not in league competition. You can only do it during practice, even in tournament play. It's practice only.
Okay, in other words, if this was part of the qualifying, she would not have been able to do that to the bowling ball.
Correct, only during the practice.
Perfect, thank you very much. Zulkifli is supremely confident when we talk to her, Linda, in the press room, and speaks English very well. She was born in England. I guess that's a good way to learn to speak English, but lives in Malaysia.
Yeah, she's a great competitor. She's had lots of TV experience.
Oh, yeah, and right now she's saying, thanks, Chris. This ball's working great. And there he is, Chris Schlimmer, the Storm rep. Look at this shot. Absolutely, this ball picked up the roll just perfectly. And does she like it? You tell me.
Can't tell she's athletic at all, can you?
Here's another lady you know, Linda. Jodi is kind of unknown to us who are not around the ladies all the time, but she's a real tough competitor.
She's a great bowler. We've bowled many team challenges against each other, and she's always right there in the hunt. It's good to see her on the show.
See how she bounces back. Second frame, she trails by 21. The winner will go to the semifinals.
She's moved in a little bit left on that lane. And there's Jodi's fiance, Aaron Hawkins, and he's got to be really nervous because when you're rooting for somebody, you're helpless. You know, all you can do is just pray that things go well. And she's off to a little bit of a rough start after opening in the first frame. You can see in her last match, she had 8 out of 11 strikes, and that'll get it done most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Key shot in the early going. She has a great match game demeanor, good strong eye contact. Look at her, look down the lane. Now watch her. She'll drop her head down a little bit, Marshall, and pick up an early spot. What an adjustment. Not a good break, though.
Wow. Linda, look, she did make the proper adjustment there, but the ball just still, it's laboring to get up on lane 39. Lane 40, the ball breaks through nicely, but lane 39 looks a little tough.
Yeah, it looks like she's just got to get around a little bit more and keep it going, get it through the pins the right direction. She'll figure it out. She's a smart player. She's been there.
It's just going to be when she figures it out. This is a one-game match, and to overcome missed spares, we've seen it years after years, whether it's a men or women. You miss a spare in a single game, you got trouble. So let's see what happens.
Absolutely.
As you can see, she struggled last game, only threw, I believe, 4 strikes. But it was enough because her opposition was even having more trouble to Neil Milligan.
Okay, up in the third frame, leads by 21 with a double working, can make it a 31-pin lead with a strike.
There's some intensity and fire.
We had 186 players in this tournament, international competition. We were representing 9 different countries, and they really have done well. The Americans do not have a lock on the best bowlers, men or women, Marshall, in the world today, and we find that in a lot of sports.
Oh, well, absolutely, and I think it's great. I think having the international flair in this tournament is really adding a lot to the U.S. Women's Open, and it's good to see that the ladies are coming from thousands and thousands of miles away to compete in this great championship. Well, she actually looked like she got that ball a little left, but she throws it so hard it held the pocket.
And that's that extra surface. Let it not be a 2-4-5. Here you go. She's right over the 5 board. We've seen that ball skid out with that much speed earlier for almost every player
You could say the strength of her game is her strength.
That's
They're athletic over there. They train them hard. They work really hard at their games. They're in the gym every day.
She's a relentless practicer. That's what she says. I love to practice. It's showing right now. A lady who has a lot of momentum going, though, can still come back. Jodi Woessner. Pretty good stuff there.
All right, no quit with Jodi. It's still early. It's just the 4th frame.
Well, the scoreboard's pretty simple here, Marshall, and you and I, being match play players, you too, Linda, you know, struggle on the left-hand lane, strike on the right-hand lane, struggle on the left-hand lane, strike on the right-hand lane. No longer in this match can she afford not to get zeroed on this shot.
This is a key shot right here. She's got to double up now to put a little bit of heat back on Shalin, or she'll just run away with it.
Good point.
Well, that's now she really has dug herself a hole. She moved in further left, but the ball is just laboring.
You picked it up, Marshall. She moved into about the 7 board, and the ball is just hanging here. There's a high concentration of oil in that area. As we know, the 1 board's disaster, too. It's too dry, so she just couldn't get the right blend. She's got to go for this. Got to slide the 2 over into the 10. Not to be.
And right now, Shalin is looking like a genius staying on that pair, and I don't blame her a bit. Even though she struggled a little bit on it, she picked something up late in the game. She had her ball rep help her out and get a little surface on that ball, and now she is more than just in the driver's seat.
I see what our guest, Linda Barnes, said. She's not afraid to take a chance. I mean, for somebody to come out and after I've won 1 match and see messing around with my bowling ball, I'd have to chase him out of the building, but apparently she had a trust in it. She's willing to gamble, and it's paying off.
She's a world-class champion for a reason.
Well, Linda, it's a 63-pin lead as we look at her manager, who has been very helpful all week long, although, as we said, Shalin speaks English perfectly well, born in England and lives in Malaysia, and been an inspiration to the country. And one of the graphics that our team back there put up was that she's the International Player of the Year, and just we can see it. She's perfect through 5, can extend her lead with a 6 consecutive strikes to 73 pins.
We inducted into the International Bowling Hall of Fame 2004, and I believe she's 30.
Yeah, she's young. She got in there 2-3 years before I did, and I'm 40.
You'll be there. All right, here we go.
Everything but the 10-pin. She gives herself a round of applause, and so does everybody else in this building. She is really putting on quite a show. We'll take a look at this shot once more, and you'll watch the 6-pin, second to the right. It's going to just travel right over the top of the 10-pin. She knows it's a good shot. She'd have loved to struck there, but that's okay.
Match what? Zulkifli with that spare maintains a 62-pin lead. Linda Barnes, thank you very much for coming out and helping us out, and good luck in your bowling. And now let's take a look at some of the former Women's U.S. Open champions. Women's Open, a USBC event. I'm Bo Burton, along with Marshall Holman and Kathy Doran-Lizzie.
Okay, Chris, tell us the secret. We saw you put a little surface on Shalin's ball. Did you tell her anything also? Because that really made the difference.
Well, actually, what happened the first game, she got a little nervous. So, in the first commercial break, we talked about, calming down, throwing good shots. And, of course, as the lane transitions, we had to freshen the surface a little bit. Ball has a tendency to get a little lazy. So, freshen the surface. And Jodi did the same thing for her ball that she, shot 247 with over here. So, it's just more or less just relax and throwing good shots. And, yeah, the fresh surface did help cut through the oil a little bit better. So,
awesome decision. Made the biggest difference.
Yep.
Back to you guys.
He's a man. He can certainly he can get me fit up now, but I'm not sure it'll help me that much.
All right, 63 pinned in arrears for Jodi Woessner to have any chance. She needs to start striking right here.
Seems a long time ago when she shot 246. All right, she's got to get lane 39, and that has been the trouble lane for her. She's got 40 figured out.
Fiance looks on and says, come on, Jodi. If she can strike here, anything's happened. We've seen some quick turnarounds in these one-game matches, and Zulkifli, as strong as she looks, one mistake, if Woessner strings together 4 or 5 in a row, it'll be a match.
Yeah, Woessner can still shoot 227, and Zulkifli right now working on a 239 pace, so she needs to keep striking, and she'll have to have some help. Will it turn? There we go. She moved a little further right, and she gives herself a little bit of encouragement on the way back, saying, I'm not dead yet.
Let's take a look at Shalin, how she is attacking this pair. She's hard in spinning. Marshall,
look at that ball speed, 19.7, 19.76, then a little slow one. Then the fifth frame, she really amped it up. And at the arrows, the 5 board, all the way out to the 3.5 board. But she, that as you get further right, it really picks up a roll fast. But she throws it so hard, she makes it work.
And that looks like the combination. Interesting thing about her, she's so well trained, she has not really pulled a ball to let Jodi into the match. When you're standing that far right, actually what we used to call the gutter shot, and still not help the ball towards up the pocket or pull it away from the channel is great discipline, and that's the reason she's leading this match.
Well, she's a very well-practiced player, as Linda Barnes was just telling us. She likes to practice, and it's showing.
Okay, cross lane with her spare ball, 7 pin, should be routine.
This is where it's sometimes tough to stay focused. You got such a big commanding lead that it's easy to let your guard down. But I think the discipline of the entire Malaysian team really is showing with the way that she's bowling this match.
Well, she gave me a quote in the thing. She said that excellent speed control, which she's good at as you look at her coach, with small hook is ideal for this championship lane condition, what we call the cheetah at 35 feet. And she's the first one we've seen in 2 weeks to really put that to perfection, as she's got this match well in hand. Not over yet, but looks tough.
That's the same shot that was hanging in the last game that's turning the corner on lane 39.
And that's the way we saw the players last year on this cheetah pattern, which is 35 feet, play the outside line and use that same type of trajectory. When Shannon O'Keefe just dazzled him with the 299 game, and Linda Barnes had a 289 last year. They were all playing that type of line with some firm speed. So it looks like it's going to be Zulkifli here, but Woessner has something to say about it if she can keep striking.
That ball was a little bit right off her hand. Got back into that half pocket zone, and not a lot of success with half pocket strikes. You can see she just got a little bit further right, maybe only a board, maybe 2 or 3 boards at the break point. They made all the difference.
Well, the critical component of these lanes is definitely speed and loft and spin. And there's only one person that's putting all 3 of those together, and that's Shalin. And hold on. This match is over. I mean, it's over early, and that's what happens when somebody really gets the hammer going. Zulkifli can bowl a fabulous 268, and poor Jodi, who had a great 246 the first game, is working at a 174 pace. So it's all over, and I can see that Zulkifli will join Kim Terrell-Kearney in our semifinals.
And Zulkifli is a major athletic star in Malaysia. I mean, she's big.
And deservedly so. You
Absolutely.
know what she told me their team, the Malaysian team's sponsorship money for coaching and all that, Marshall, their team is $4 million a year budget for their bowling team. And that's a little bit more than the Americans are operating on, and it shows. I mean, not saying that the Americans can't beat her, but she really has it all going together. Dang.
Well, probably as nice a young lady as you're ever going to meet, and yet
when she's off the lanes,
she's a competitor right now, and she wants to beat Woessner by 1 million.
I don't blame her. You know, you put in all that training, all those hours, all that gym, and you got the hammer in your hand, you might as well drop it. Let's see. The only thing of doubt or in question is the final score. Zulkifli with a possible 268, 10th frame. That puts her in the 250s. She is the winner and will join Kim Terrell-Kearney in the semifinals. We will be back after this.